So, it's just another day in New York City. Spider-Man swinging around, taking down supervillains, and saving people, as is his hobby. Typical New York shenanigans. But what if he gets thrown across the galaxy and his main mission now is to save the whole planet from not one, two, but three supervillains and their minions? Will Spidey save the day? Today, we're gonna find that out in Spider-Man Unlimited. But before we start the series, let's have a look at the main characters of the show. Starting with our friendly neighborhood superhero, Spider-Man. After being blamed for Jameson's supposed death, Peter takes on the mission to find him at any cost. Next up, we've got John Jameson, who is J. Jonah Jameson's son, an astronaut and soon-to-be rebel leader. Then next up, we've got the Blob duo, Venom and Carnage, who are on world domination mode, but this time with the help of the Synoptic, which is a green slime creature with the ability to control any living creature that it touches. And finally, we've got High Evolutionary, who created this whole society of creatures called the Beastials of Counter-Earth, a strange sort of parallel Earth because apparently regular Earth wasn't entertaining enough. He, along with his loyal knights, rule Counter-Earth with an iron fist, making it completely dominated by the Beastials. So, with now the intros done, let's get started with episode 1 of the series, Worlds Apart. The episode starts off with John Jameson giving a fiery speech as he heads off to embark on a space mission to counter Earth. We're then introduced to Peter Parker, who's busy snapping pictures with J. Jonah Jameson, who's proud of his son for taking the mission. Right then, Peter's spidey senses start tingling as he finds two suspicious-looking guys who quickly turn into Venom and Carnage. He starts chasing them, but the Blob brothers trash him. As the ship loses control, Spidey glides back to the ground. Seeing this, Jonah immediately accuses him of sabotaging the mission.
Spider-Man! He did this! He sabotaged the ship!
And guess what? Our hero is now treated as a wanted criminal. His effigy is egged. He gets pepper sprayed for saving a cat and finally blasted with a water hose for saving a mother and child from a burning building. As Spidey resists the attack, rubble starts falling from the building. He quickly pounces to save a firefighter, and once the dust settles, the firefighter announces that Spidey is no more.
The building collapsed on him and saved my life. This is all we found of him.
But hold on to your hats, because our boy is still alive and is warmly welcomed by his girlfriend MJ. As Peter stares down at NYC, he finds himself unsure about the future of Spider-Man. I mean, how can he be the friendly neighborhood superhero if the neighborhood hates him? Right then, John Jameson is broadcasted asking for help, which motivates Peter to give it one more try.
This time, if Spider-Man can't help him, maybe Peter Parker can.
6 months later, we see Peter getting an upgraded spider suit from Reed Richards. And this new suit is simply the coolest. With all the nanobots and stuff, it's awesome. As Spidey is testing everything out, he comes face to face with Fury, who doesn't want to let him go to space. But Spider-Man spook talks him and proceeds with his mission to save Jameson and restore his reputation. As Spidey reaches the outer atmosphere of Counter-Earth, he's intercepted by a mysterious force, pulling him towards it. After being saved from a dramatic crash landing by some Transformer bots, he finally reaches the surface. But those bots that saved him are not exactly friendly, and they order his surrender.
Surrender by order of Lord Tiger and the High Evolutionary.
Everything was going so well till now.
He makes a run for his life and is introduced to the Knights of Wundagore. But Spidey is having none of it, as he escapes using his webs and tries out his new stealth skill. But his escape doesn't last long as he gets knocked out by the Knights and is taken away. As he opens his eyes, he finds himself surrounded by the Knights along with Sir Ram, who's ready to rip him apart, of course for some DNA samples.
DNA sample? Hold it! I bite my nails. How about a nice piece of fingernail?
The very next episode, Worlds Apart Part 2, picks up right where we left off. We're introduced to the High Evolutionary, who narrates his story of being an outsider who came to this world and created the creatures called Beastials. Sir Ram just can't keep his hands to himself, and he wants to cut Spidey open. Before he can, though, Spider-Man breaks the shackles and escapes from the lab. On his way, he gets help from Karen O'Malley, a member of the human resistance group on Counter-Earth. They escape from the Knights and venture inside a manhole to meet up with none other than, wait for it, John Jameson.
Prove you're the real Spider-Man. Right now.
Jameson?
John's been busy during his time on Counter-Earth. Most notably, he's decided to spearhead the rebellion against the High Evolutionary. But little do they know, Lady Vermin is right behind them as she informs Lord Tiger of Spider-Man's whereabouts. The High Evolutionary decides to send special forces to deal with Spider-Man. Meanwhile, Venom and Carnage are cooking up a crazy plan to betray the High Evolutionary and take over the entire planet.
Once we nail him, we're free to help counter Earth. Join the Synoptic.
Back in the hideout, the human resistance group is attacked by Lady Vermin along with Venom and Carnage. As the group struggles, Spider-Man uses sonic waves, which puts the two blobs in complete disarray. Later, Spider-Man has a talk with Jameson, asking him to return back to Earth. However, he refuses to leave until he finds justice for the humans. Jameson manages to convince Spider-Man to stay in Counter-Earth for a while, and Karen gives him a pair of clothes to spend some quality time with the locals.
These will help you get a better look at our world. After you do, I'm pretty sure you'll be throwing in with us.
The scene then shifts to a group of kids playing baseball, but things take a dark turn when a bot goes rogue. And just when a boy was about to get smashed, Peter swoops in to save him. He injures his hand very badly, and the boy's mother, Dr. Nauko, offers to treat his wound. She introduces herself and her son Shane and offers Peter a room to stay. The episode ends with Peter vowing to get back to Earth as he remembers his sweetheart, MJ.
Someday, somehow, I'll get back to you, MJ. That's a promise.
Moving on to the next episode, Where Evil Nests. We see a green slime-like creature dragging a homeless man down into the manhole as he cries for help. Meanwhile, Nauko and Peter are arguing, as her boy is yet to find a decent job to pay his rent. Seeing this, Shane tears up and runs away. Nauko goes out looking for her son with the help of a tracker and almost finds him hiding behind a wall. But suddenly, strange orange fumes start coming out from the manhole, and we see the same green slime from before pulling Nauko into the drain. Shane tries to save his mother, but accidentally slips down. He rushes to get help for her, bumping into Peter, who leaves him back in the house. He turns into Spider-Man and starts looking for Nauko, and that's when he encounters Green Goblin, who starts attacking our Spider-Boy. Spider-Man doesn't buy Goblin's story of being a hero, as he comes from a world where he's actually a villain.
Protecting the innocent from criminal scum like you and your symbiote friend.
But when they're attacked by a bunch of machine men, they team up. As they defend themselves from the onslaught, Spider-Man finds Shane going into the manhole. They make quick work of the bots and start following the boy who's looking for his mother. In the drain, the green slime-like creature, Synoptic, starts chasing them. The green slime traps Goblin and Spider-Man falls deeper into the tunnel. Meanwhile, inside the tunnel, Nauko is taken to Venom and Carnage, who mock the Doctor and reveal the history of the Synoptic. The scene then shifts to Spider-Man, who's woken up by Shane, and reveals that he's a tracker and is currently following it. And just when the Synoptic is about to attach to Nauko, Spidey shoots it down. He rescues Nauko and Shane and turns his attention towards the Synoptic, which quickly overwhelms him. Fortunately, for Spidey, he's got backup. As Green Goblin appears,
The cavalry has arrived! What, the fashion cavalry? Nice outfit, Goblin.
and takes Nauko and Shane away as the whole place starts to crumble. Now back on the surface, Nauko thanks Goblin for saving her. But little did she know that she's actually talking with her husband Hector.
I hope so too, my love.
The episode ends with Peter paying his rent as Nauko thanks him for asking Spider-Man to help her out. Episode 4, Deadly Choices, kicks off with a flashback to 10 years ago, showing a young Git Hoskins playing with his friends and decorating a Christmas tree. Right then, the star flies away and he's kidnapped by Sir Ram for his horrible experiments. Back in the present, Git has escaped with a virus canister. But unfortunately, he bumps into Sir Ram, who's there to retrieve his test subject. However, he makes a complete fool out of the Knight and escapes once again. Peter hears the chaos outside and heads to help Git get rid of the bots. The duo team up
Beats me what this is all about, but if I don't get you out of here, you're gonna really need those bandages.
and finish off the machine men, and Git runs off with the canister. The Knights meet up with Spidey and reveal that the bio-container is no good and extremely mutagenic, not to mention extremely contagious. Spider-Man heads to the human rebels and finds out that Git was supposed to deliver the canister to them by now. They also reveal that the container would blow up if it's not diffused within 2 hours. Hearing this, Spidey comes with an unlikely plan. Team up with the Knights.
The only way we stand a chance of finding Git is if we and the Knights work together.
After shooting some lasers and webs, the two groups agree to work together until they find Git. They locate him, who gives them a tough time, as he refuses to hand over the virus container. He completely destroys their transport and runs away with it. So with no other option, Spidey takes charge to catch him before the container goes boom. He successfully traps the mummy boy and retrieves the container. But, unfortunately, it's too late, as the bio-container has reached its final minute, making it impossible to defuse.
Too late. That's it then. In less than a minute, we're history.
Seeing this, Spider-Man releases Git from the trap and asks for his help. He successfully stops the bomb from blasting off the city and proceeds to trash Sir Ram. Ouch. What follows next is an intense standoff with each group pulling out the pistols on each other. However, our pro-negotiator, Spidey, swoops in and decides to take control of the canister. But Git takes it back and hands it over to Sir Ram, who leaves with his Knights. The episode ends with Venom and Carnage stealing the canister from the Ram's underground lab, as the blobs are up to no good again.
Another
muscle.
The next episode, Steel Cold Heart, kicks off with one of the human rebels, Bromley, getting captured by the bots and taken to the Knights. Meanwhile, Peter and Shane are sightseeing, watching the demolition in a nearby site. One of the Beastials welcomes Peter to check out the site, and that's when they come across X-51, an older generation robot that refuses to get turned into a recycled cube.
You'll be happier as a recycled cube.
Negative. This unit will not be destroyed.
As the Beastial tries to zap the robot, it refuses again, causing the excavating Beastial to run rogue. In the process, Peter and Shane get separated, and Shane almost gets stomped by the mole elephant. But Peter quickly changes into his Spidey suit and swoops in to rescue with the help of X-51. Spider-Man manages to trap the Beastial, but things don't go well for X-51 as he gets zapped by the other machine men. Right then, Lady Ursula joins them, asking Spider-Man to return the robot for some repair. But Spider-Man's not having it, and they both prepare for a fight. But X-51 stops Spidey and surrenders himself to the Knight. Later that evening, Spider-Man finds X-51 but can't swoop in to save him due to a force shield protecting the building.
I'm gonna need help getting in there, and there's only one place to get it.
So he heads out to meet the human rebels asking for help. But they want to use X-51 only as leverage for a prisoner exchange program, which Spider-Man is not quite happy with. They barge into the research facility and rescue X-51, who helps them get rid of the force field. Jameson is adamant in using the machine men as a tool to get Bromley back, but Spider-Man disagrees.
I won't let you take X-51.
All right, John. You do what you have to do, and I'll do what I have to do.
He takes X-51 to Naoko's home, and along with Shane, helps the robot to get some much-needed spare parts. But the robot starts behaving strangely, and smacks Spidey right across the face before he can make a run for it. He doesn't get far though, as he gets zapped by the human rebels who take him away to be used for their prisoner exchange plot. However, unfortunately for the rebels, the Knights do not play fair, and they activate X-51 to fight against the humans. Right then, Spider-Man jumps in and takes down the machine men one after another. Finally, X-51 escapes from Sir Ram's control.
Will not. I am more than machine.
And helps Jameson and Bromley escape from Ursula. Spidey spots Jameson's spaceship, but Jameson refuses, saying that running for their lives is more important now. The episode ends with Jameson apologizing with X-51 as they both shake their hands to celebrate their newfound friendship. The next episode, Enter the Hunter, starts off with Sir Ram complaining to the High Evolutionary about Spider-Man's growing popularity among the humans. Looks like our Ram guy is getting a bit jealous. The High Evolutionary hands over the responsibility of taking care of Spider-Man to Sir Ram, who's watching footage of Spidey's recent antics along with a man known simply as the Hunter. This guy, Hunter, is not your average Joe. All he loves to do is hunt, irrespective of humans or Beastials.
Of all the impudent! Watch your tongue, Knight, or you might lose it.
After reviewing the footage, Hunter and the Knight shake hands in agreement to take down Spider-Man once and forever. Meanwhile, Peter and Naoko are enjoying their time in a nearby restaurant, and she opens up about her husband. She explains how things were great at the beginning with her husband Hector, working at one of the very few human-owned companies. But after the company shut down, everything went into chaos, and Hector completely isolated himself from his family. As days passed by, he joined the human rebels, leaving Naoko and Shane with just a letter behind. Naoko warns Peter about her husband, but Peter's like, nah, no problemo, as he agrees to leave if anything goes wrong. Right then, the Beastials and humans start fighting, so Peter transforms into Spider-Man and heads to mediate the problem. But looks like our Spider-Boy has to do a lot of heavy lifting, as they start fighting each other. However, Karen joins in and provides some much-needed support.
Surprised to see you out in the open like this, though.
A nice summer night, big harvest moon. A girl just can't help feeling romantic.
With the fighting done, Karen informs our boy that he's got a price on his head, and gives a quick overview about Hunter's details. On his way, he gets attacked by the Hunter. After saying that it's not gonna be easy,
This guy's not gonna be easy to beat, if I can beat him at all.
Spider-Man changes back to his normal form and tries to blend in with the crowd. But Hunter's got an eye on Peter, as he finds out that he is the Spider-Man.
No tracer will keep tabs on you, Spider-Man.
However, he decides to leave as he's got another target in his sight. The other target is none other than Karen O'Malley. Right then, we see Karen on a call with the human rebels, and that's when Hunter swoops in and takes her away. Our boy Spidey gets the info that Hunter's got Karen and heads out to meet his predator. He sneaks into Hunter's lair and skillfully dodges the traps as he eventually finds Karen. Whew, that looked tough. He rescues her, and they both head to Hunter's lab to find some clues. Right then, Hunter joins in and they start fighting. But this time, Spider-Man manages to fool Hunter, making him believe that he and Peter Parker are two different people. And the foolish Hunter falls for the trick, and even gets threatened to never get his way.
If you ever lay a hand on me or my friends again, I'll come down on you like a ton of bricks.
The episode ends with Spidey leaving Hunter's lair along with Karen, who's impressed by his fiery speech. But our boy jokes as they leave the place for good. Alright, episode 7, Cry Vulture. Starts off with Spider-Man and Jameson having a heated argument about returning back to Earth. However, Jameson's still refusing, adamant about helping the rebels get back their freedom. Suddenly, Jameson starts to panic and run away, leaving Spider-Man behind. Back in Naoko's clinic, we see Naoko giving a grilled cheese to a sweeper. However, before the sweeper guy can take a bite of the tasty sandwich, two Beastials forcefully take him away. Now that is just rude. Let the man eat. Spider-Man spots them and swoops in. But oops, looks like Spidey's got company. And it's this guy named Vulture, who thinks Spider-Man is also a bad guy. But after one of the Beastials zaps Spidey with a laser, he realizes that he's not a bad guy after all. Yet he's still suspicious of him and leaves the place, calling him a wannabe.
Unlike some people, I ain't no wannabe.
Wannabe?
He heads back to Naoko's and passes out from his wounds. He wakes up and informs her about the Beastials taking the sweeper guy away. She's shocked to hear this and tries to get help. Peter tries to comfort her and even calls her MJ, which surprises her.
What are we gonna do?
Don't worry, MJ.
MJ?
Looks like our boy's missing his sweetheart a whole bunch. After changing to his Spidey suit, he starts looking out for the sweeper guy who, along with some others, has been taken to some shady place where the humans are put inside a coffin jail. As Spidey tries to break in, he gets confronted by a boar and camel Beastial. Right then, Vulture swoops in and helps Spider-Man to get rid of the guards. However, he's not really happy with having him around. He starts yapping about his backstory. Vulture used to be living the high life in upper society, one of the very few humans allowed to do so. But after seeing his Beastial friends treat his human friend in the worst possible way, he's decided to fight for the humans. They agree to work together on this short mission and help humans get out of the laboratory. They sneak into the lab and come face to face with Fire Drake, who spits fire at our Spider Boy and the Bird Guy. He takes them away to do some experiments.
You'll soon regret the moment you ever thought of going up against Fire Drake.
Actually, I'm pretty clear on that without the demonstration, thank you.
And of course, in comes Sir Ram. God, not this guy again. As he begins to start the experiment, Spider-Man breaks free and starts fighting the Beastials, while Sir Ram runs away. He rescues Phil the sweeper and heads to rescue the other prisoners. But Fire Drake's like, not so fast, buddy. And they both start fighting. With the help of liquid nitrogen, he takes down Fire Drake with ease. Meanwhile, Vulture wants to take his revenge against Sir Ram by finishing him off. But Spider-Man steps in, encouraging them to leave the Ram guy, as killing him would only make matters worse. Even Phil supports his statement, as both humans and Sir Ram leave the place.
Next time, you may not be so lucky.
Nor you, Sirrah.
The episode ends with Naoko giving the sweeper guy a box of grilled cheese, as he walks away happily promising to finish it up this time. But wait, there's more, as we see a wolf-like Beastial in Naoko's clinic who's tearing up the place, ending the episode with a cliffhanger. The next episode, Ill Met by Moonlight, continues right where we left off, in Naoko's clinic with the Wolfman making a total mess of the place. Right then, our friendly neighborhood web-slinger swoops in and saves Naoko from the Wolfman. As he was about to shoot the Wolfman, Naoko jumps in and stops him from harming the Beastial. Using this opportunity, the Wolfman throws Spider-Man out of the clinic and they start throwing punches again. However, as soon as the sun rises, the Wolfman transforms back into a human who turns out to be none other than John Jameson. Whoa, that's a plot twist.
Jameson?
Afraid so, web-slinger. Afraid so.
He explains what caused him to turn into this wolf creature and reveals that the rebels have no idea about his affliction. The machine men arrive and guess what? A fight breaks out. Well, who would have guessed? As both Spidey and Jameson get captured, X-51 joins in and fools the machine men, believing that he's one of them. Back in the headquarters, Bromley reveals that a nearby power plant is slowly killing off the human population. Jameson, along with X-51 and Spider-Man, set off to their new mission, destroying the power plant. They enter the pyramid building, only to find the machine men waiting for their arrival.
Gang, I hate to break it to you, but we've lost the element of surprise.
A fight breaks out again, and this time we've got the rebel forces versus the machine men as the rest move ahead to shut the power plant down. They successfully infiltrate the plant, and Spidey shuts down the power plant. But things get a bit juicy when Spider encounters Electro, an electric eel who starts zapping around. On the other side, Jameson and Karen start their mission. However, things aren't going great for Jameson, who faints suddenly. He transforms back into his wolf form and starts attacking Karen, who can't believe what's happening. Terrible timing, Jameson, terrible timing. Jameson pins her to the ground and notices Electro and Spidey fighting, so he leaves her and joins in their fight. 'Cause why not? Now, Spidey has to face both Wolf Jameson and Electro. but he cleverly tricks the wolf to tackle Electro, who gets stuck and starts losing his power. He then traps the wolf and takes him out as the whole power plant explodes. Jameson transforms back into his original human form and explains the situation to Karen, thinking that she might be upset with him for keeping his wolf form a secret. But Karen brushes it off and asks him to get some rest instead. The episode ends with Jameson giving Spider-Man the location of his spaceship as our boy wonders whether he should be heading back home or not.
It's what you wanted, web-slinger. Your ticket home.
Home?
The next episode, Sustenance, kicks off with Naoko arguing with her husband, who's not pleased with Peter living in his home. Hearing this, Peter thinks that it's time to say goodbye to Naoko and Shane as he heads to take his spaceship. Peter leaves Naoko's house, ready to leave Counter-Earth once and forever. However, we've got Goblin and company, who starts throwing bombs as her boy struggles to escape from his attack. He fools Goblin into believing that he's gone and transforms into his Spidey form. However, Goblin finds out that Peter Parker is actually Spider-Man and starts looking for him.
Parker is Spider-Man? And here I thought Spidey was one of the good guys.
Spider-Man reaches Atlantic City only to find Goblin on his back once again. Right then, the guards attack them for trespassing, so the duo team up to bring them down. After defeating the guards, Spidey tries to smooth talk with Goblin, and that's when Goblin reveals that he knows his secret. Hearing this, he blasts Goblin and reveals that he has already left Naoko and Shane for good, which delights the green guy. They both team up to infiltrate the dome, but before they can, one of the guards triggers the alarm. As they get chased by a massive machine man, the ground breaks and they both fall into a pit. Over there, they're greeted by a bunch of Beastials who introduce themselves as the Rejects.
Who are you guys?
Can't you tell? We're rejects.
They take Spidey and Goblin to a butterfly Beastial, Prima, who tells them their story of how the High Evolutionary uses rejected Beastials as slaves and recycles them to create a new Beastial. She orders the Rejects to use Spider-Man and Goblin as a bargaining chip to stop the High Evolutionary from further recycling. They reach the laboratory. However, Spidey breaks free and strikes a deal to stop the High Evolutionary anyway. With the help of the Rejects, Spider-Man tracks down his ship. However, he figures out he could do nothing without some Goblin help.
Must be forgot to take a trip to the hardware store. I'm gonna need an expert for this.
So he heads back and frees Goblin, who starts working on some repairs. Right then, Ursula, along with the Machine Men, start attacking Spider-Man. After dealing with Spidey, she attacks Green Goblin and accidentally starts the ship. Seeing this, Spider-Man quickly boards the spaceship and turns the ship's trajectory towards the dome, which completely destroys it. The episode ends with Prima thanking Spider-Man for freeing the Rejects and asks to join them. However, our boy rejects her offer and heads out thinking whether he did the right thing, staying in Counter-Earth.
If I could have gotten to the cockpit and piloted the ship, what would I really have done?
The episode Matters of the Heart starts off with Spider-Man having flashbacks of Mary Jane as he watches some Beastials playing football in the stadium. The scene then shifts to the Revolutionaries, who are planning to have a talk with Lord Tiger, as they believe he's the sanest of all the knights who could potentially help them win against the High Evolutionary. They knock down a couple of guards and enter Lord Tiger's room, who's not pleased with them disturbing his peace.
I don't know what you're up to, Rebel, but you're interrupting my enjoyment of an important game.
As Jameson gets distracted, the guard takes control and alerts the other guards, who start shooting at Bromley. As the Revolutionaries make a run for their life, Bromley gets shot by Sir Ram, who takes him to Lord Tiger. Meanwhile, Peter, along with Naoko and Shane, are having a great time at the carnival, as he snaps pictures of her, reminding him of his darling MJ. Right then, he notices the police Beastials attacking the humans, so he switches back to his Spidey form. After dealing with the police, Bromley takes him to an abandoned subway station, which turns out to be a trap. However, this doesn't affect our boy at all, who quickly defeats the Machine Men. But in a plot twist, Bromley takes out his gun and shoots Spidey, rendering him unconscious.
Bromley? What?
Sorry, old man.
He wakes up surrounded by Sir Ram, Ursula, and Bromley, who mock him. Right then, the High Evolutionary appears and orders the Knights to take Spider-Man to Wundagore for experimentation. But Sir Ram decides to do his own experiments first before taking him to the castle. He starts electrocuting our Spider-Boy, which doesn't sit well with Bromley, who distracts the Knights and takes him away. Pick a side, dude! Spider-Man is suspicious about Bromley, and doesn't trust him anymore as he believes that he's tricking him once again. Now Bromley recites his sad past, and it's revealed that Sir Ram promised to release his brother if he snitched on Spidey. After hearing his sad story, Spider-Man decides to take matters into his own hands to help him find his brother.
You may not believe this, Bromley, but I know what it feels like to be desperate for somebody you love.
They sneak into the Wundagore castle and manage to find his brother Durwood at the Hydra purification plant. But in a sudden plot twist, Durwood reveals that he has decided to sell out Bromley for some money and a promotion. Well, that's pretty messed up. The High Evolutionary appears and uses his telepathic powers to start throwing Spidey around. Our Spider-Boy gets cornered and zapped, turning him into a spider-like Beastial. But he gets back in control and uses the sonic waves to completely destroy the lab. Meanwhile, the two brothers start fighting, and with a heavy heart, Bromley pushes his brother into the container. The episode ends with Bromley throwing away his brother's ring as he heads back to join the rebels.
I have to get back to the rebels, and they're all the family I have. I know what you mean, bub.
Episode 11, 1 is the loneliest number. Starts off with Spidey swinging around the city as he reminisces about his good old days with Aunt May. Right then, Spider-Man notices Venom roaming around the city, so he decides to check it out. However, Venom finds him and thrashes him really badly. Oi. As Venom tries to escape, he gets zapped by the Beastials, leaving behind his host body. Good ol' Eddie Brock. Spider-Man takes him to Nauko, who explains that Brock's in critical condition. So with no other option, Peter promises to look for his symbiote and heads out to the city. Meanwhile, Carnage starts to carnage after his body goes missing, and bullies a couple of humans to find Venom's location. But Spidey swoops in and tricks Carnage into believing that he knows where Venom is. As soon as the humans get released, he pulls Carney in front of the train, taking him away.
Bye-bye, Carney. Don't forget to write.
After dealing with Carnage, he finds Brock's symbiote, which shares the memory of what happened to its host. Now, back in Nauko's clinic, Eddie shares a moment with Nauko and Shane as he starts feeling human again. Meanwhile, at the Science Tower, we've got Dr. Borowski talking with the High Evolutionary who wants the symbiotes gone forever, because they're apparently second on his list of most hated things. Of course, number 1 is humans. But little did he know, our friendly neighborhood superheroes already snuck in and taken Brock's symbiote away.
No! What are you doing?
Sorry, Doc, but your patient's checking out.
However, the symbiote breaks free and attaches to Peter, who's enjoying his new look after a long time. Meanwhile, Carnage finds out Brock's location and takes Nauko and Shane as hostages. Right then, Spidey arrives and saves the mother-son duo, trapping the Red Blob. But Carnage throws him out, and our boy gets surrounded by the Machine Men. Talk about some bad timing. As Carnage plans to harm Nauko and Shane, Eddie decides to become Venom again and starts trashing Carnage.
This is a sight to warm a man's heart.
But this doesn't last longer, as Venom returns, who along with Carney announces the age of the Synoptic, their super evil plan to have the Synoptic take over everything and everyone. They team up to beat our Spider Boy.
My favorite parasites together again. Another comeback tour we could all do without.
But he's 2 steps ahead, as he uses the sonic gun to blast the Blob brothers. However, it doesn't end for Spidey, as Nauko talks harshly for practically destroying the clinic. Well, that's quite tragic. But hey, gotta be a little thankful for Spidey saving your life, right? The episode ends with Dr. Borowski being dragged away for his impending punishment as the High Evolutionary promises to take down Spider-Man no matter what. Moving to the penultimate episode of the series, Sins of the Fathers kicks off with Parker cooking some pics as he finds Karen visiting her parents' grave. Unfortunately for her, the Machine Men arrive and try to arrest her for being part of the rebels. Seeing this, Peter tries to save her without blowing his cover, but he fails and the Machine Men take her away. He meets up with the rebels, informing them about Karen's kidnapping.
What? I never should have let Karen go out there alone.
Back in Wundagore, the High Evolutionary is having a talk with Sir Ram, and right then, the guards bring Karen right to him. He immediately recognizes a mark on Karen's arm and orders to take her to the private chamber. Meanwhile, X-51 along with Spider-Man sneak inside the security complex as part of their rescue mission. Now, back in the castle, the High Evolutionary starts getting flashbacks about his past, and recalls a moment when his son shared the news about having a baby, which somehow connects to Karen. Interesting. Lady Vermin, who's monitoring Karen, starts taunting her for being a human. Using this as a distraction, she breaks free, attacks Vermin, and tries to escape from the window. But she fails miserably as the whole room is covered with force shield, making it impossible to leave.
But you will never defeat my force shields. They are tuned to your specific DNA.
On the other side, Spidey and X-51 get caught, and the Machine Men start pouncing on them as they desperately escape from the building. They reach the Rebel HQ and try to decrypt the data they managed to grab, which turns out to be nothing. It's a trap. The Machine Men surround them, forcing them to abandon their headquarters. The rebels track down Karen and find out that she's kept in Wundagore Castle. Meanwhile, the High Evolutionary tries to have small talk with Karen, who's in no mood. He calls on the Knights and asks them to prepare procedures to turn Karen into a full-fledged Beastial.
Prepare the prisoner for full bestial enhancement.
Right then, the rebels start attacking, and Spider-Man sneaks into the castle to rescue Karen. Despite the force field, he uses his genius brain to take Karen out of the room, which impresses her. As they escape, the High Evolutionary arrives and trashes Spider-Man with no mercy. As he's about to attack Karen, he gets flashbacks of his son and daughter-in-law leaving his place after finding out that he altered their daughter's DNA. And the daughter turns out to be none other than Karen, making the High Evolutionary her grandfather. After the sudden flashback, he decides to leave her and Spidey, reminding them that they'll pay for what they've done.
You will rue this day, Spider-Man, as will all humankind.
The duo join Jameson and the rebels as the episode ends with Karen reminiscing about her parents. Alright folks, we are now in the final episode of the series, Destiny Unleashed. The High Evolutionary, who's not in a great mood, declares war on humans. He gives the Knights a pep talk and wants them to completely cooperate with him to get rid of the pesky revolutionaries. And of course, our friendly neighborhood web-slinger too. Now, the scene shifts to Spider-Man, who's patrolling the city, as he thinks about his experiences and the friends he made in Counter-Earth. Right then, he spots a huge army of machine men who start vacating humans from their homes one after the other. Even Naoko's not spared, as she's seen as an accomplice of Spider-Man. Seeing this, Spidey distracts the machine men, changes back to Peter Parker, and has a small talk with the Doctor. The TV turns on, and the High Evolutionary demands in order to stop the destruction, all he needs to do is surrender the rebels along with Spider-Man.
Spider-Man and the rebels failed to surrender to my security forces. A dozen more buildings will fall.
This scene then shifts to Sir Ram, who's about to take down a building along with his machine men. However, Lord Tiger intervenes, asking him to stop his madness. But Sir Ram asks him to head to Mount Wundagore and take his much-needed rest. As the machine men are about to shoot, Spider-Man swoops in and shatters the device to pieces. The machine men start shooting, and our boy is trapped under the rubble as Sir Ram approaches in high throttle to get rid of our Spider Boy. But surprisingly, Lord Tiger intervenes again, saving Spider-Man.
Get out of my way! The High Evolutionary's order was to take Spider-Man alive.
As Spidey makes a run for it, the machine men tag along and eventually take him down. But we've got backup as the rebels arrive, taking down the machine men and forcing the Knights to retreat. However, their problem is not over yet, as the humans start showing their anger towards the rebels, believing that they're the reason for their suffering. Lord Tiger gets on call with the High Evolutionary and informs Spider-Man being inside some radius. He activates a sonic weapon, which renders Spider-Man and the others unconscious as they're taken into Laboratory 572. The fun and giggles don't last much longer for Venom and Carnage, as they're also taken into custody. In the laboratory, Spidey wakes up and finds Eddie and Cletus along with the rebels. Right then, the High Evolutionary arrives and attaches a strange mind control device on everybody, as he reveals his plan is to completely destroy mankind.
A power strong enough to destroy the minds of the entire human race.
As he attaches the device, the humans start experiencing some ear-deafening sound, and even Naoko and Shane are not spared from the ordeal. Seeing this, Spidey cooks up a plan and uses his sonic waves to free himself and the others from the mind control devices.
Gotta find the right tone to counteract it. Sonic's on!
And as usual, they start throwing punches, and the High Evolutionary uses telepathic powers to trash Spider-Man so badly that he gets stuck in the ceiling. In a surprise twist, out of the broken ceiling comes the Green Goblin, who's apparently still alive. After dealing with the High Evolutionary and the Knights, the rebels make a run for it, with the help of Lord Tiger. They rescue Eddie and Cletus, who drop the bombshell that it's all over for them, as the Synoptic had created a backup plan of spreading the spores to take control of all life on the planet. And with that, the series comes to an end, as the spores erupt like a volcano, leaving the future of Counter-Earth completely uncertain. Unfortunately, this is where the series ends. The second half of the story never saw the light of day, and we're left with the ultimate cliffhanger. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this show. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and let us know in the comments what shows you want us to cover next. Hope you all have a great day, and we'll see you next time. See ya!